let's see if this works. I didn't get to do all of the information, and it says I'm live. So hopefully I'm doing this right, and I have everything right on YouTube and Facebook. So thank you to everybody who is here. It's really nice to be able to talk to so many different people on so many different forums and everything. So that's really cool. So this is my first time trying YouTube Live as well, properly. Let's put it this way. So I'm going to be looking at Facebook here and YouTube over here. So if anybody has any ideas and thoughts, hi, Doreen. It's good to see you. Hi, Terry. So today it seemed that when I posted on Facebook today in our Tarot and Divination Forum, when I asked for about questions today, it seemed that everybody wanted to talk about intuition, which was kind of interesting because that was a thought of mine to work with. And I teach a lot. So I have individual people that I teach. Sometimes it's in a group, but believe it or not, I actually teach more one-on-one with people. All righty. So they come in instead of just a regular tarot reading, they'll come in for a class on how to work with the tarot or intuition. So I actually have my cards and my Lenormand cards here as well. So it seemed like everybody wanted to talk about intuition. And that's a pretty good, I thought that was an excellent topic. And for all of you other readers like Tina and other people that are out there, please join in on this one. I'd love to hear what your definition of intuition is. And that's also to everybody that's out there on YouTube as well. I'd like to find out what you think about this, and we could take it from there. But what is intuition? What does that mean to you? People come to me because they know I have good intuition. But is it that I have good intuition, or is it that a person is not trusting their own intuition? Alrighty. So maybe it's a bit of both, right? They're insecure about trusting their own intuition, that sort of thing. But I'm going to test you a little bit, and I'm going to challenge you a little bit, because do you ever walk into a room and you meet somebody and you like them right away? Or do you ever walk into a room where you dislike the energy of that room and you go, oh, I got to get the hell out of here. I can't deal with this. All righty. Well, that's a form of intuition. When you like somebody right away, and when you don't like somebody right away. And I'm just looking at all the different comments here and stuff. So that's a form of intuition. So if you trust that, why don't you trust it in regards to your tarot or things that come to you on a daily basis? Why is it you can't? And I'm actually going to throw something else a little different out there. For all of you animal lovers out there, does your dog bark at 2:00 in the morning or bark at 2:00 in the evening, knowing that you're a couple of blocks away? Do your animals let you know when your loved one? Because I always use that as an example, and people go, sure. I had a parrot named Monty. I'm a big Monty Python fan, so I named him Monty. And he would squawk, like, no kidding. If I was 3 blocks away, the family knew I was close. So why is that okay? Why is that all right? Why is it okay for animals to have intuition and you trust that, but you don't trust your own? And that's the point that I'm trying to make. Yeah, there it is. You're right, Doreen. But that's the example that I try to use for everybody, because a lot of people are afraid or they're unsure. And I never quite understood why. All right. And I'm sure that that's intuition. I should say insecurity. So Tina, I know you're out there. So maybe you could chime in on this one. Tina is a wonderful reader, and she is an exceptional medium. So if you're looking for some sort of work like that, Tina is the one to contact here on Facebook. And she does do a lot of work online. Tina Vesley, all righty. And she's also been a part of the store many times and has taught sessions and stuff like that here. So hi, Danielle. So you know, I'm trying to encourage you to trust your intuition. And you'll find that once you start to do that, you'll become a better reader, or just your daily life. You know, you'll begin to trust your own thoughts in regards to intuition. And like I said, Tina, if you're on, if you want to add to that one, or if anybody else wants to add to that one, this is just my opinion and the way that I work with my intuition. So I tend to trust it. I tend to, if I'm not sure about something, I might jot it down, you know, and to figure out what, you know, is going on. I might draw a card on something if I'm still unsure. You know, you ever wake up and you have that uneasy feeling and you just don't know what the heck is going on. And then I'll start looking in the news and, oh my God, there was an earthquake or something. But that's my intuition kicking in. Your dreams also tell you a lot of things. And to me, that's a part of the intuition or the experience of it. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but it's the way that your body is communicating information that you would normally not process. All right. So in your dreams, your conscious is put to sleep per se, and your subconscious comes out. So all those things that you were thinking about and seeing and processed, and could even be spirit, comes through in your dreams because your conscious isn't saying, oh, don't trust that. So in your dreams, all that information comes through, which is really a wonderful thing. And you should learn to trust that. All righty. So we'll start with that. So now I got a couple of questions here. Shireen, I don't know if you're out there. It doesn't tell me everybody that's logged in, but Shireen writes, how do you know the difference between your intuition and an intuition sent from a spirit guide? Now, does anybody out there have an idea about that? Okay, what's the difference between your intuition and a spirit guide? All right, so anybody on, oh, hi, James, I'm looking at my YouTube thing. It's good to see you here. So I posted the question, James, if you hear this, how do you know the difference between your intuition and intuition sent from a spirit guide? So I'm going to give you my opinion, but I'd like to hear the opinions of others as well, because that's what this show is about. All righty. So my take on this is, when it comes to my spirit guides, I always, when I start a session, okay, when I start tarot, I ask my spirit guides to come in, and the spirit guides of the people that I'm reading for. I ask them to come in, and as of course I drop a card and it disappeared. Oh, here it goes. So forgive me on that one. I dropped the card. So what is the difference? Okay, Leah writes, if things are quiet enough, sometimes I can even hear them as a separate person in the room. So that's fantastic. So that allows, and Leah writes this, that allows Leah to separate her own mind from I don't want to say separate. So Tina, I may be wrong on that, but I agree with you, because Leah, sometimes it works that way with me here. But it allows, if I were to hear a separate voice like that, then I would know it was coming from a different source. Alrighty, because I would say most of the time when I'm working with my own intuition and I hear that little voice in my head, it's my own voice. So it's almost as if I'm talking to myself. So I go, oh, okay. Or I'll get an image of something very quickly. So that's the way it kind of works with me. So Shireen, I don't know if you're on, but that's the way I kind of work with that. So on the other hand, when it comes to spirit guides, even of the other people, once I ask that question, if you would come in, and I would get an answer, I would know it was from the spirit guides of the person that I'm reading for. Terry writes, reading tarot was one thing. Getting out of the way for spirit to talk is another. It's an art form. And you know something, Terry, thank you for posting that, because I would feel that anybody who has a skill in almost anything that they feel comfortable with, it would be an art form. And thank you for posting it that way, because those that do speak to spirit, and we all do, it's all a matter of whether you're trusting that or not. And I know Tina can say that, and I'd love to hear Shireen experience with that. Doreen writes, sometimes I see dark shadows at night in my bedroom. There's a discussion I had with somebody today, Doreen, and you might find this helpful, is when you see those spirits, they need you to talk to. Remember, you are the vehicle for them to express themselves, because they're not here in this plane or in this form. So they use us to be able to speak through. All righty. So that's a big thing. So Doreen, if you see them, you might want to just say, hey, what's your deal? Or draw your cards out and see what the cards say. So can I always tell that it's the spirit guides of another person or my own? I'm going to say most of the time it's yes. Once in a while I'll doubt myself, and I think that's my own neurosis, alrighty? Because sometimes the information, or if it's very harsh, I'm like, oh, did I really just hear that or see that? So to me, that's the way it works for me in regards to spirit guides, alrighty? So now we have another question here, and this is from Iris. Is there a way to know if it's your intuition or your anxiety messing around with you, or are they one and the same? Now, that was really cool, because I don't think I ever thought of my anxiety as being connected to intuition. Okay, well, I'm going to touch on that, Doreen. I don't think I ever associated anxiety with my intuition. In fact, I think if I felt anxiety, then it would block my intuition, because then I'm too into myself. So, Iris, if you hear me on this one, in my opinion, I don't think they're one and the same at all, because if I'm in a state of anxiety, I can't, my intuition is blocked, my ability to hear through my third eye. We all say that we hear, but it's really all interpretation from your third eye, right? That's where all that information comes from. So to me, that's how that works. I think there's a big learn from doing this as well. So really excellent question. It's going to be something I'm going to be thinking about. And if anybody also in the Tarot and Divination Forum would also like to get in onto this discussion, because I posted this earlier and it's there. So now Doreen writes, let me just make sure I got the whole question there. Okay. Doreen writes, if I deal my cards, won't I bring in the wrong spirit? And I'm going to say no. No. Tarot cards are cards. All right. Tarot or pendulum or runes are my tools. All righty. And as long as nobody else is using my tools, and they don't, then I feel safe to say that it's the spirits that I want to talk to, or my own spirit guides. Okay. I do not invite the energies of other people into my tools. So Doreen, I hope that helps you a little bit. And darn it, I forgot to bring out my sage, because working, hi sweetie, hi Rain, working with divination or working with spirit, it's a good idea to cleanse your spirit and your space anyway. So Doreen, if you want to take it the next step, you can cast a circle so that it's sacred space and nobody comes in unannounced. And you could do that by casting a circle or putting a circle of salt around your sacred area. Alrighty. And herbal teas. Oh, good idea, Terry. I'm going to get to that one in a minute. So you could cast a circle using salt. You could cast a circle using your third eye. Just you're designating space between the magical, which is your space, and the mundane. So only those that can come into your circle are those who you've asked to come in. So Doreen, it should be safe as long as you're just working with your cards and you're not calling anybody else in. You should be fine. I wouldn't call in other people that I didn't know, or other spirits. And believe it or not, that even means rock musicians and other people that you really feel kind of safe with. I don't think I would. You know, if that was the case, you know, two of the Beatles would be here with me all the time. Okay. But to be honest with you, everybody carries their own junk with them and their own energies with them. And if you're not familiar with them, then I don't think I would do that. There are other famous people out there that do call in celebrities that have passed on, but that's not necessarily my way of doing things. Alrighty. So, yeah, circle cast with white cornmeal. Yeah. So in my native practice, I have done that. All righty. I'm part. So I have some training in there and I've worked with that. So yeah, Terry, I agree. Now, Terry writes, how about the influence of various herbal teas, i.e. eyebright or alcohol to even calm down or open up? Okay. So there's a lot of cultures that do this, Terry. So that makes a lot of sense. And a lot of herbs that will open you up. Alrighty. Now, what does open up mean? That means your consciousness has been, you know, lowered. Your subconscious is able to come out. And I hear a car beeping out there. Anyway, how can you do that? Now, you could do that with meditation or power of the mind. Alrighty. People will use alcohol. So that's a good one, Terry. People will use weed or marijuana for that. Cultures, if we're going to talk about Native American, they will use peyote, all right, which is mescaline. And on some levels, you could use mugwort, because mugwort is said to encourage prophetic dreams and to help with divination. Mugwort is also really good for cleansing your tools too. So if you don't have sage to cleanse your cards, you could use mugwort, and mugwort is good for cleansing many other tools associated with witches or practitioners, earth practitioners. So Terry, that was a great one. And why does it work? Is because you're subduing your consciousness and allowing your subconscious to come out, and you're not going to doubt it because it all flows out, right? You know, never want to keep a secret when you're on alcohol, right? Because all of that comes out. And I'm using a little bit of humor, but it's the reason why certain things. Some people will use drugs, and people used to use LSD and many other types of drugs. Now, I'm not going to be on a high horse here. I don't use drugs, but that has to do with the fact, and this has nothing to do with should you, could you, whatever. It has to do that I'm pretty ADHD, and things that would be suppressive to most actually speed me up. So alcohol speeds me and I get hyperactive on it. And I'm a total control freak when it comes to my emotions and feelings. So I don't like that feeling of letting go. It's just me. And maybe I would if I was in a controlled situation, which I haven't explored yet. But it doesn't work for me, though I do know some, people that will swear by it. And I'd rather not. I like to keep, especially if I'm going to work with spirit. Alrighty. I want to keep on top of my game. And if anybody's ever had a reading with me, and on both forms they have, they know that I can be like, hey, this is what I want. You have to come through. You must talk to me this way. There is no pussyfooting around, and boom. And if I don't want to talk to spirit, I say goodbye, not needed. So I don't have a fear, and that's my opinion on that. So Terry, I hope that I answered your question properly. So that's the reason. Now, I'll have some teas like eyebright is really nice. Though I'm an herbalist too, so I would use eyebright for any eye infections or soothing of the eyes, that sort of thing. But skullcap might be one. Mugwort, I'm looking at all my herbs that I have here. Lavender tea would be very calming. Chamomile tea would be very calming for most, so there's even catnip. Catnip tea is also another calming type thing. I think spirits can influence you more while intoxicated. Yes, Leah, thank you for putting it in those terms. So I agree, and that's the reason why I don't do much when it comes to external forces. But sage puts me in a state of mind, all righty, whether that is psychological or not. Sage puts me in that frame of mind. Certain types of incenses. So smell is very important to me. I have a very, very sharp sense of smell. Anybody who knows that about me, it's a big joke. All righty. I like eye brights with good. Terry, tell me why um eye bright works for you. I'm really, really curious to see why that helps. And forgive me, I'm looking at other messages that I have here too. I'm really quite curious. Hello, Silver Links, and blessed be to you. I'm curious to find out why that works. Yes, incense. Yep. So there is certain scents that will work with me. Your sense of smell is your most primal of all of the senses that you have. So, it's like the smell of coffee in the morning or tea in the morning will send you somewhere. The scent of, I don't know, of anything, a certain person's perfume. It is said that if you smell jasmine, that is the incense of the dead. So maybe you smell jasmine out of nowhere, and that's happened. White copal, frankincense, and myrrh. Yeah. So white copal or copal, alrighty. Just to give you a heads up, copal or copal is actually amber that is quite young. So it has a nice sweet smell to it. So I happen to adore those three scents. So copal, frankincense, and myrrh also vibrate at a very high level, alrighty, which means connection to spirit would be easier. Let's put it to that way. All right. It's different for everybody. So those scents are considered altar scents or high vibrating scents that is usually used. Sandalwood would be up there too, Danielle. So that might be another option there too. So Terry writes, herbal effect goes right to the third eye. Felt higher vibration, definitely affected. Okay, so eye bright Terry uses with very good experience. She had a very good experience with this. So thank you. Eye bright is probably close to mother's wort. Yeah. Now I like mother's wort for a lot of female problems. Also, it helps to calm people down and it kind of helps chill the system out. So that would kind of work. You know what I mean? So I have tinctures of mother's wort, which I think it's something that everybody should have. So I guess we could talk about herbs another time. I didn't think about it, and I didn't realize that that would be a part of the discussion today. So I'm really actually quite happy about that. So eye bright is something that Terry uses as well. So we talked about incense and certain herbs. Copal would also do it for me, as we were just mentioning. And I'm just looking at the rests here. There's probably a lot more than I'm not. As you could see, I have rows and rows and rows of herbs here. So we have another question. And Rita. So Rita writes, how can you tell if it's intuition or imagination? Excellent, excellent, excellent question. Now I'm going to say something because I get asked that all the time. What does it matter? So back to finding our own understanding and trust of our intuitions. Yes, Terry. So guess what? There isn't much difference between the two. I know people are going to probably yell at me on that one. All righty. But I think when I'm in sacred space and I'm doing a reading for people, all righty, and I'm putting those stories together, okay? And I allow the stories to flow and I start to see images in my head. Is that imagination or is it intuition? I've learned to trust myself. I call it intuition, but I think a lot of the times they're interchangeable. All righty. So please, I know that some people would probably not agree with me on that. Some people would say that there's a very definite difference, and they can be if I'm asked to use my imagination for something else. Like I actually work in the movie industry a little bit, in the music industry on the side. So if somebody says, well, use your imagination to help me with this storyline or this story plot line. Okay. So, okay, I go, oh, well, then this can happen and that can happen and all that. And to me, that's more It might be part, hi Vera. It might be, look how cute that is. It might be a bit of both, but when I'm asked to use my imagination, oh, what color should this be? Or what, like, can you see it in your head? And I'm going, okay, sure. And then I'll, add to that. But when I'm in a reading, I don't want to make up anything. I don't. Everything that I come up with is what I see in these cards. Alrighty. So I'm putting the stories together. So Rita, I hope this is on. I'll put what that card means next to that, and then come up with a story. It's like a storyline, isn't it? But it's the cards telling me what is happening, and then I allow my gut to kick in. So if somebody's having a problem with love, or that, right, trust, and trust. Thanks, Rita. I'm so glad that you're hearing this, and I'm answering your questions here. So I think you kind of get the idea. I can separate the two, imagination versus intuition. So if you said, hey, Bernadette, write this down for me, come up with a plot, there's my intuition. Hello, may I have a read? So Amaris, let's hold on just a second. So Amaris, if you would write down your question, and not only will I'll do like a 3-card reading on it, I'll post it to everybody who's also on Facebook. So it'd be really nice. So Amaris, write down what your question is there. All righty. So now let's go on to the next question I have here. And this is from Els. So Els, she writes, Els writes, what, if anything, do you do to prepare yourself for doing intuitive work? Do you have a visualization of some sort or a prayer? So, yeah, I do. Hey, Maria. Oh, by the way, Maria, I am using the setup that you recommended, and I bought it. So I hope the lighting is okay. I can change the lighting and all this stuff. So I have my computer on as well as my Facebook on. So I'm able to use both devices. So what visualization techniques do I have? And forgive me, Els, I'm really stumbling on my words here today. So when I'm getting ready to do a reading, I do a little prayer privately. I like to shuffle. Alrighty. Oh, it looks great. Thank you. I like to shuffle. And Amaris, you might want to hear this as well, because Amaris is on YouTube. What I do is I try to close my mind. I shuffle, and I'll just do that while I'm here, because I have this here. And I'll shuffle. And while I'm shuffling, I think of my spirit guides. I think of the spirit guides of the people who are with me. If I'm reading for one person, sometimes I'll read for a group of people. And I ask for many blessings to come that way. So Els, that is one of my techniques. And then I take sage, and then I smudge my cards, which I do every time before and after every reading. So for many of you, you'll know what I'm talking about. And or Florida water, or some sort of protection spray that I will use to cleanse the space. Now, my tarot room is sacred space. Alrighty, Els. So hopefully you're there. And so I know that I have my wards up and I have my protections up, and I'm confident when I do my readings. So Els, I hope that helps. I hope it helps a lot of you. Silver Links also writes, I burn a lot of patchouli that seems to help with keeping things flowing for me. That's awesome. So Silver Links, good. I'm glad you brought that up, because patchouli can also be very grounding as well. So that works nice. Since it's so earthy, I always associate it with grounding. Now, Leah, before we get to your question, and I'm going to put this out for everybody that's out there. So Amaris Cunningham, she writes, what blessings are coming my way? So I am going to draw 3 cards. Alrighty, so if all of you would use the same techniques that I was just talking about. So I already cleansed my cards before I started the show. Asked for the information, and Amaris wants to know what blessings are coming her way. So I'm going to throw down Amaris, I'm throwing down the 3 cards here. We have the King of Swords. We have the 9 of Cups. So Amaris, so I'm going to show you the cards that I have here. All righty. So that's the King of Swords. And I'm also going to show it to Facebook here. All right. So we have the King of Swords. And now we have, you could see the 9 of Cups. All righty. All righty. And then again, we're writing, this is for Amaris 5. So we have the 8 of Pentacles. And she writes, what blessings are coming your way? So Amaris, in my opinion here, I'm looking at the King of Swords with the 9 of Cups and the 8 of Pentacles. So what blessings are coming your way? The ability to make the decisions as a King of Swords would do. So in other words, the core, to me, Swords has to do with cutting away a lot of BS, cutting away problems, but standing tall in your ability to do that. That coupled with the 9 of Cups, which means holding on to those things that you love. All righty. And then you have to decide, Amaris, what that love means. We don't want it to be obsession. Okay. So you can see how he's holding on to all of that. All righty. And you can see the yellow, which is the success thing or money thing. But blue has to do with emotions. So control your emotions, but hold on to the things that you've got because it means something. It's important. And now, if we're talking about the new year, which is really nice, the ability to make money. All righty. So don't know why all of a sudden my light is flickering. So I wonder if my own guides or things are up. Looks like the light is all of a sudden, go figure. So I guess there's a lot of energy. It just now my light just blew out. And I have, fluorescent lights, as you can see in the background. So that makes something. This resonates. I'm working on this now. So Amaris, look what the reading just did. Look what just happened up. Oh, okay. Mike, hold on 1 second there. Alrighty. Yeah, it is trippy and cool, Phantom. So to anybody else out there, we have another thing. Phantom Punk writes, hello, love. May I have a reading on what I can expect in the near future? And this person is a Gemini. Okay. So again, my lights blew out as I'm doing readings here. So that's all of your influence here. You're very welcome, Amaris. So, okay. So Phantom, what bless, hello, love. May I have a reading on what to expect in the near future? Okay, so Phantom, what I want you to do is to decide how near. Is it this week, next week, the week after? Is it this year, next year, or further? While I'm doing this, I want you to pick what the 3 cards designate. And for all of you on Facebook, if you remember that a 3-card reading could be anything that you choose it to be. All righty. So we're talking about 1 month. This month, next month, I'm going to do a 3-card reading, unless you just want me to do 1 card. I'm doing here. So I'm shuffling while I'm doing this. Okay. So let's do this. So if it's 1 month, then we're going to talk about a 1 card. So what to expect in the near future. And if anybody else wants to join in there, please do. Okay. So, all right, Phantom Punk, I'm going to show you the card that I picked up. All right, this is the 5 of Swords. And I want to make sure I show this on Facebook because I actually have a phone on a stand here. So we got that. All righty. Okay, so next month, the first card that I picked up is the 5 of Swords. So there's some sort of battling going on. It could be the battle of the minds or not feeling settled. All right, it's a bit chaotic. So the next card that I'm going to show, all righty, is the 7 of Pentacles. So there's obviously some sort of resolution because we're talking about the ability to make and grow money, regardless of what other people believe. Okay. So it looks as if you have to decide what you need to do as well. So it's decisions that you need to make. And the last card for Phantom Punk, and then I'm going to go to you, Mike. Oh, this is awesome. Now we have the 9. So you have progression from 8 to 9. Okay. So if we are talking about money, okay, because remember, Pentacles has to do with money and or the element of earth. So if you're not discussing anything about money already, then we are talking about your craft, what you do, what keeps you grounded, that sort of thing. Alrighty. So keep that in mind in regards to this reading, because you got to remember this is an online reading and I don't have your energy right in front of me, but I'm going to work with this the best that I can. So you have a lot of possibilities. You have to stand also on your own two ground. It looks as if in the next month there's a bit of chaos, but you're going to be able to figure it out in regard to either that earthy aspect or money. But this is the ability to make money and grow money. And as you could see that there's a bush back there. that's how I'm telling, that's where I'm coming from when it comes to spirit guides. So I could, in another session, work with my Native American cards and then maybe do readings with that. I'll try to do that on YouTube a bit more. Yeah, there goes my hubby over there with the hearts. He's so silly. All righty. Anyway, Phantom Punk, I hope that you are, I don't know if you're still there or you can hear me, but according to YouTube, it's telling me that my mic is working. Alrighty. Nice, it's back on. Okay, so what I did was I shut it off and I put it back on, but it's still showing me the levels so that it's there. So sound is back. Thank you, Terry. So with that in mind, I look at see what's being presented to me, and we can try that. All righty. That's great. Thank you. So I love that everybody's keeping me informed. So Leah, that's one way. So I would tell your daughter to maybe keep track of animals that are presenting themselves to you. Now, here's one thing about spirit guides. Sometimes they're with you in the short term, meaning they come and go as needed. And that's also people. So don't get too crazy if people come and go in your life and you get crazy about it, because you shouldn't, all righty? Because an animal or a person or a spirit guide will come into your life, teach you the lessons that they needed to teach you, and then leave, because you're supposed to take you're supposed to take those lessons and then run with it. Sometimes spirit guides are there from the very beginning. And to me, again, you can read on that, you can meditate on that, or you see what animals are constantly around you. So for instance, right now at this point where my hubby and I live, I mean, the amount of deer coming our way is intense. So what is the lesson of the deer? And so you're supposed to take that, let that macerate in your brain a little bit, and then take it from there. So Leah, with your daughter, tell her to start out with that. Keep a journal and see what she comes up with. And in other words, what animals are constantly presenting themselves to her, and you'll start to see who the spirit guides are. All righty. So, all right. So we have another question, and this is from Tracy West Hancock. How can you stop the rational part of your brain from hampering your intuition? Think about that one. And we had discussed before what the conscious is. Okay. So is your conscious your rational brain? Mike, if you're still out there, I know you can chime in on this one. Is that your consciousness? Is your rational brain your consciousness? To me, that would be that would qualify. To me, that would be one and the same, but it's okay if there's any dissent there. But your rational brain goes, oh, what are you listening to? Oh, that doesn't mean you can't be thinking about that right now. But your subconscious is giving you information that your rational brain is saying, ugh, all righty. So, Terry, or excuse me, Tracy, boy, my mind, because you see what I just did? My mind just opened up and I started to get some messages. Tracy, you're overthinking things, all righty? So in regards to readings, and I'm not telling you, I'm looking at her message like she's over there. Okay, go figure that one out. You got to stop with that rational brain thought. Obviously, your rational brain means everything else. It's so good to see that you're here. All righty. So with that in mind, the more I read, the more okay, hold on a second, Leah. So we all do that. Our rational brains tell us that that's not what happening. That's not what is happening. All right. But you got to understand that your intuition is actually supposed to help your rational brain. All right. Everything isn't as we see it. Your rational brain says, okay, I can touch this and this is concrete. I can feel this. But Does gravity exist? I'm using this as an example, right? We know that gravity exists, but we can't see it, feel it, or anything. Alrighty. So Tracy writes, example, rational brain might be saying, that sounds like a terrible job for me, but intuition says differently. So what I would do, Tracy, in that example, alrighty, is draw a couple of cards. So I'm just gonna have some fun with this. Should you take this job, even though it sounds like a terrible job? I'm not saying that that's the case, Tracy, but I'm going to just throw it out. So I'm not sure. I don't know. My brain says one thing and my gut says another. Okay, so the card I just drew, okay, is the King of Wands. To me, that's almost like the employer hiring you. Wands has to do with creativity to me. So I drew a card and the card says, yes, you should do it. So if you're in doubt between the rational brain or your consciousness and your intuition, draw a card. Now I'm going to quote something, and Tracy, you might appreciate this. Something that Isaac Bonowitz taught me. All righty. And there are many of you will know who Isaac Bonowitz is. He's an elder, passed away many, many years ago. Anyway, he was a part of my store for a long time, and he taught me a lot. And the one thing he taught me when it comes to tarot reading, all right, and Terry, I agree with you. 98% of rational thought is actually emotion. Yeah, isn't it? It was totally, but drawing the cards to clarify. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Tracy. So Isaac taught me that in regards to tarot, 90 to 95% of it, that intuitive sense that you feel, is akin to this. He taught me that everybody gives off energy. Alrighty, like a radio, like an FM radio, right? And the reader is the tuner. So let's say I'm reading for Tracy, or I'm reading for Tommy or Mike, okay? Or Phantom Punk, right? So I'm reading for you, and I take a moment to still my mind. And Els, I hope you're hearing this because that might help you out. And with that, you take a moment to clear your mind and to allow whoever to come through. But what I'm doing is really tuning in to the frequency of the person that I am reading for. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So 90 to 95%, I'm tuning into the energy of the person that is there. And when you do that, it makes for a pretty incredible reading. All righty. And this is why when people try to test other readers, it fails. Because you're not able to tune into that frequency. They're wasting $50, $100 because they're trying to test you. But that's not how it works. And it's obvious that other people that try to test you don't understand how this works. That other 5% or maybe 10% is actually spirit coming through, but that's not necessarily the norm. And the reason why that is if you're reading, and let's say you're at a psychic fair and you're reading for 20, 30, 40 people at night, you're not talking to 40 different spirits, but you can tune into their energies because you're talking to them. Hi, how are you? What can I do for you? And, you're establishing a little bit of a relationship in the beginning. Sometimes you shake hands, that sort of thing. And then you go on from there. So that is what I was taught. Okay. Other people may have different takes on that, but that's how that works for me. So I hope that kind of makes sense when it comes to intuition, because this is a subject that we could probably talk on for hours. So to me, that's a big deal. So I think I've touched on all of the questions that were put in our tarot and divination form. So for all of you who are on I'm going to look at this screen for a moment. For all of you who are seeing me on YouTube, we have on Facebook a tarot and divination forum. So if you're on, you feel free to join. And for those of you, and I'm looking at this screen for Facebook, if you're on Facebook but would like to join me on YouTube, that would be great. And this is for a couple of different reasons. And Terry, I'm going to get to you in a moment. The reason why I'm trying to encourage more on YouTube is I like to use my mobile device more than I like to use my computer. And YouTube has a new thing where I have to have about 1,000 subscribers in order to be able to broadcast live using my device. My computer is different, but if I'm on the go somewhere, let me, you know what I mean? If I can't talk again today. So if you would join YouTube and hit the like button and subscribe, because then I can, once I eventually get to that 1,000 mark, I can use my devices for YouTube as well. And I'm trying to keep readings on YouTube if possible. And then the really, really informative stuff here on Facebook. So there's a division between both platforms. All righty. So you kind of get. So Terry, we spend a lot of time learning to trust our intuition like it's made up, a construct. Here's a scrambler. Rational thought is most definitely a construct, but we trust it more. Why? Hold on. It says see more. See more. Let me just hit that. Okay. Why do we trust it more? Why? I don't trust my intuition, so I have to tune myself over and over. Good thing it's fun, but I'm learning to let go of my rational thinking being the proof or the measure of intuition. You know something that is excellent, Terry. Thank you for sharing that with us. I've never had too much of an issue with trusting my intuition. Maybe as a child or as a teenager, when it comes to all those hormones and emotions and all that, because to me, emotions kind of cloud that intuitive sense out. You know what I mean? So if you're emotional over a boyfriend or emotional over he said, she said, or gossipy stuff, which we deal with when we're younger, doesn't necessarily change when we're older either. So I've seen a lot of that stuff. It doesn't necessarily always change, but the rational thought is supposed to help you, like, oh my God, I got to brake the car now because there's somebody stepping in front of me. Okay. That's what rational thought does. It's supposed to, prevent you from doing those things that you don't want to do. But sometimes people put what they think is rational is not. All righty. So sometimes you have to sit back, think, and get the emotions out of it, and then look at the situation. So something that I've taught myself. Oh, Doreen, just look under Bernadette Montana. Dawn, the same thing. Look on, go to YouTube and look up Bernadette Montana. I'm not able to type right now because my phone is on a stand, so it's elevated. So just look up Bernadette Montana and you'll see my YouTube page. So, and you'll see lots of older videos and stuff like that. Alrighty. So I totally appreciate it. So thank you. That means a lot to me. So Terry, I hope that kind of helps. Children are very intuitive until they're taught not to be. Alrighty. So think about that one too, because children talk to their friends, their imaginative friends. You know that's spirit. Thank you, Terry. That's really cool. I really appreciate that. So there's my YouTube address for anybody who would like to subscribe to my YouTube there. So I think I'm going to go while we still have a few minutes here. I'm going to do a reading for the week. Now we have the holidays coming up as well. So wow, wait a minute. If I'm looking at it, it's going to be, let me look at my calendar actually. I'm just going to look at this just to double check and see what my calendar looks like. So I'm bringing that up. Obviously, I have another tablet here, so I'm totally connected here. So Next week is the 23rd, so we'll be under that Yule influence, which is a great time. So it's the solstice energy. So we could talk about that. And then the week after is New Year's yeah, so it's Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. Let me throw this out to you. Should I do a show the next 2 Mondays? Would you be willing to watch this show both on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve? Just give me a yes or no. This way I know, because is it good for me to take a 2-week break? I'm not really quite sure. So both of you on Facebook and YouTube, are you up for me doing a show on Christmas Eve and on New Year's Eve? Just say yes or no to those dates and let me know. So I'm going to do a reading now. Okay, well, I'm going to do a reading here. It says trying to reconnect. Let's see what we got here. I'm sorry if anything has been messed up here. I know that my YouTube is still connecting, and for some reason my Facebook just crashed. So I don't know why that is. So we'll see what's happening here. So let me see if I can. I'm going to shut off this tablet and see if that helps any. Something is really weird going on here, okay? Because the light blew out just now, right? We saw that. Then my YouTube channel disconnected and then connected, and then I lost the sound. And now Facebook, which never crashes, just crashed. All righty. So anyway, I am going to do a reading. It's still trying to reconnect, so I'm hoping that we can do this. So here on Facebook, I'm going to do this. I mean, on YouTube. All right, people. So I'm going to do a 3-card reading for the following week to come. All righty. So I have the Page of Swords. I had the Ace of Cups. And we have the 2 of Cups. So this is really a wonderful reading for next week. My take is partnerships, things happening. Ace of Cups has to do with love of oneself and a gift being given to you. And the 2 of Cups, we go from 1 to 2, means either somebody's coming into your life, whether it's love or a good partnership, because don't get too stuck on love being just a romantic thing. We're also talking about love, platonic love, love of your children, love of a job that you need to do, that sort of thing. And I'm so sorry that something went wrong, your live broadcast. I just don't understand what's happening here. So I'm going to try going live again and see what we've got going on here and start live video. Okay, I'm just going live again on Facebook. So once we're good there, and we're able to do that. So anyway, once it's distracting me. So the Page of Swords means newness, because the page has to do with learning a new path, getting back on track with something. The page wants to learn how to be like the knight, and the knight is in service to the king and the queen. So this is something new, a new path. Alrighty. Then we have the Ace of Cups. And then we have the 2 of Cups. So again, this is my interpretation of this. And the week to come up until Christmas Eve looks pretty good. All righty. And I'm going to have to get out with people this week. Thank you, Terry. Terry, I don't know why, but now Facebook dropped on me. So I don't understand. Something is going on, and we're not in retrograde, and we're not out of any of this. But what do you think about me having a show on Christmas Eve? Do you think that that's a smart thing to do? Because I'll do it. I'll be home. So I'd love to get the feedback from everybody. And it looks as if I can't. Facebook is not reconnecting. So something's going on here with my internet. I don't know what that is, but we'll see what that is. So the following week looks really good. So we have the Page of Swords. All righty. And then we have the Ace. And I love because the Ace is always a gift being given to you, regardless. This is like really crazy. Now my light's trying to come back on. We have the Ace of Cups, and the Ace is always a gift being given to you. All righty. And now we have the Two of Cups, which is kind of akin to the Lover's card, but in this case, I'm kind of looking at it as a relationship of some sort. It doesn't necessarily have to mean low connection. You can still record a video, but it won't be live. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to try this. Again, it says I have full internet, and I wanted to end on that. So according to this looks pretty good. I like what I'm seeing here, and I think we're good with that. So it's a good week. I really, really hope that everything is great for the following week. Terry, how about on the night before Christmas Eve? I might do an impromptu one for that and see what happens, because I have the Facebook ads that are out there, so it might be a little difficult. So thank you for that. Maybe Christmas Eve might be a good one there. And again, I apologize to anybody who's also on Facebook, because Facebook is just not reconnecting for me at all, and I've never had that problem with. So many blessings, everybody. Be mindful as to what is going on here, because I may just come on out of nowhere and do some readings and see what we've got going on here, if Spirit tells me that I should be doing it. And I look forward to that. So many blessings. It couldn't happen without all of you. You were all really awesome. And please, in the comments, leave me any information or ideas or things that you want to see on this show. It would be really great, because I want to cater the show towards the needs of the people that I'm reading for. Okay. So awesome. You all rock. Thank you, Phantom Punk and Terry and other people that were on here. So it was really nice. And I appreciate all the feedback that you gave me. Bye-bye.